Hello all podcasters, to the second podcast of this year. I am your host, Commander Marcus Dickens from the USS Invicta, and I'm proud to bring you the collective work of different people around the world that are part of the podcast team. With the help of all them and some contributions of other members of the StarBase 118 community, we can bring you news, interviews, parodies, songs, and almost everything you can imagine. And if you can imagine something else, you're welcome to join us and share your ideas with us. I'd like to start by introducing the new members of our community. Lieutenant Commander Alora Deveau is bringing us the new additions, so let's go with the fresh blood of our fleet.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Commander Alora Deveau of the USS Invicta. Today I have the pleasure of sharing with you the names of our newest members of the fleet. For the month of February and March, we've had 10 new people join StarBase 118. Benjamin Deveau of the Duranus Embassy. Caesar Hull of the USS Constitution, Alice De Winter of the USS Gorgon, Jackson V of the USS Gorgon, Amuro McKnight of the USS Doyle, Han Yamaki of the USS Darwin, Paul Scudder of the Duranus Embassy, Tertius Luca of the USS Invicta, Harper DeRine of the USS Gorgon, and Lincoln Calder of the USS Invicta. Welcome to the best fleet on the internet.
Thank you, Commander Deveau. Certainly, they will be welcome in their different postings, and I'm sure they will have a great time with us. As you may have noticed, English is not my first language, but that's a good thing about this fleet. We welcome people from all around the world. Some may say that I have a strong accent, and that it's difficult to understand me, but Starfleet is about understanding and helping each other to improve and be the best that we can be. Talking about improving, there's a place where you can do that and show others your talent and creativity. Our dear Colonel Nugra brings us news about the 2016 writing challenges.
Attention everyone! The 2016 Writing Challenge is officially open. In the spirit of Star Trek's 50th anniversary, the theme is Where No One Has Gone Before. This competition will feature both solo and joint author categories, with each having one winner and one first runner-up. Stories will be evaluated on grammar, theme, plot, conflict, setting, and character. Starting February 1st and ending on May 1st, you can post your story entries. That's 3 full months to craft your masterpiece. We will announce the winning stories and the first runner-up on June 1st. The top 4 winning stories are going to be added to the 2016 Writing Challenge Annual, a fiction-style SB-118 e-zine to be available later this year. So, hurry on over to the forums and get your story out there.
Thanks, Colonel. I'm sure that we'll have plenty of entries and discover the talents of our swimmers. Now, I want to bring to your attention our history team. Recently, they've made a major effort to bring back all the memories of one of our ships, the USS Columbia. That's one of the things that the history team do, and they're great at what they do. Lieutenant Mirra, currently on StarBase 118 Ops, is bringing us some news about their work. Lieutenant?
Thanks to the efforts of our dedicated community history team, the rich history of the USS Columbia has been excavated and added to our wiki for historical purposes. The Columbia has had 3 commanding officers in our game: Mal Avatar, Benjamin Livingston, and most recently, Breck. Using our email archives, other wiki records, and community news, log entries from Captains Mal Avatar and Ben Livingston's era have been recovered, as well as a complete crew history, complete awards history from all 3 eras, and a full episode guide which details every mission undertaken by the ship's crew. The Columbia's updated wiki area also features a graphics page, shore leave logs written as poetry, and a list of the namesakes of the Columbia. Head on over to the USS Columbia wiki page to read more about this proud ship and her history. You can learn more about the community history team or join them on the forums.
Thank you. The history team is one of the great assets that allows us to keep the life of our fleet through the years, and their invaluable work is an edge that makes us proud to be part of StarBase 118 RPG. Our next segment is brought to us by Lieutenant Deveau, for those of you who have some natural or learned skill with the graphic arts.
The graphics contest recognizes the amazingly talented artists we have among our fleet. If you have artistic talent, then this is the contest for you. Imagine seeing the TARDIS on your view screen, or Spaceballs Lone Star's van landing in your shuttle bay, Sherlock Holmes solving your murder mystery, Merlin handing your CO Excalibur, or Superman flying faster than your ship to save a planet. This round's theme is crossover. You can literally combine any other fandom, TV series, movie, or roleplay universe with Star Trek and show us how awesome it could be. The deadline is April 23rd. Time to get creative.
That contest always brings very impressive and creative pieces that amazes us through the years. I still remember one of Operation Bright Star that featured a space battle that included the USS Ronin, the USS Independence A, and the USS Challenger. It was quite a great work that I invite you to check out, as well as others made by our members. Another thing that I want to draw your attention today is about information. We live in the new media era, and the future will have its own way to inform people about what's happening around the galaxy. In our case, it's the Federation News Service, or FNS. We bring you different segments of the FNS News that helps us to be updated of what's going on and who's involved.
The arrival of the USS Endeavour from the Alpha Quadrant heralded the end of the temporary exile of the USS Darwin A on the pre-warp societal world of Turazon II. With the repair of the damaged vessel, the Darwin was free to continue its exploration efforts on the fringes of the Delta Quadrant. En route back to the Dyson Sphere that heralded their return to the Poiog region, Captain Renos, commanding officer of the Darwin, took the opportunity to dole out some much-deserved awards. Starfleet has tasked the crew with establishing a Federation presence in the Poiog region. This is to be accomplished by entering a joint endeavor with the Talaxians in the region to develop a trading outpost on the exterior of the sphere.
A new tell-all memoir by a decorated Starfleet veteran is making waves for its unflinching criticism of Federation and Starfleet leadership during the Dominion War. The memoir by retired Starfleet Captain Ignacio Fierro, entitled The Sacrifice of Angels, A Captain's Account of the Dominion War, features Fierro's recollections serving in the greatest war in Federation history. Laden with unapologetic descriptions and strong language, it is not for the faint of heart. Yet, Fierro's book is hardly the first raw retelling of one veteran's memories of the war. What has brought attention to the book, instead, is that several times throughout the memoir, Fierro blatantly claims that military strategists and field commanders he served under were grossly incompetent, and in some cases even corrupt. Fierro states in his book, "It was then I realized they had no understanding of what was truly happening on the front lines. To them, they were just faceless names on casualty reports. How else to explain the callousness with which they sent us to our deaths, outnumbered and outgunned?" Captain Fierro served with distinction for nearly 4 decades in Starfleet. He was captain of the USS Emerald when the war broke out and fought in multiple engagements with the Dominion. Starfleet Command did not have any comment on the memoir when FNS writer Flynn Dupont reached out to them. In other news, Starfleet Command was proud to announce the promotion of Renos, the commanding officer of the USS Darwin A, to the rank of Fleet Captain. The This is a very important stepping stone in Captain Renault's career, and well deserved. Colonel Nugra, an invited guest of the promotion ceremony, explained to Gerald Hampton, FNS attaché reporter on the USS Endeavour A. We are going to see many a good thing from Outpost Unity. It is in very good hands. I'm Stella Luna for the Federation News Service.
Despite a troubled opening night of the 2393 Tribble Fanciers Association convention that saw the inauguration dinner abandoned amid concerns of weaponized tribbles, it was considered a critical success. Although the station's press secretary, A.J. Craig, refused to comment on reports that tribbles had been genetically modified to administer poison and sleep-inducing effects, unnamed sources within Starfleet security have confirmed that they are looking to speak with a possible suspect in the matter. Despite the early setback, this convention has been considered a resounding success, with approximately 26,000 visitors to the Promenade Convention Center in the station's New York district, in addition to those who already live and work aboard the Beta Quadrant's largest outpost. Everybody aboard this magnificent starbase has been wonderfully accommodating, said Cal Danaril, a tribble breeder who took part in the convention. I'm even considering a permanent move to the commercial sector. The Tribble Fanciers Association announced last night that the 2394 convention will be held on Panthera 4, which marks the largest commercial event to be held on a nascent Federation colony world.
Wow, many things happening in all the corners of the galaxy, each one bringing up new mysteries, plots, developments, and adventures. If you want to be part of it, don't hesitate and go on to starbase118.net to find out more about us and the way to be part of it. Okay, for the last part of our podcast, we have an episode of The Ready Room, brought to us by Jonathan and Nicole, bringing us in character, out of character, and different Star Trek news among many topics. Some of them you have heard of on the FNS ads that we played a few minutes ago. So, without further ado, let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I play Colonel Nugra of the USS Doyle.
And I'm Nicole, who plays Captain Selene Faranfey, also of the Doyle.
Welcome to the Ready Room. The goal of our show is to bring you both in-character and out-of-character news while discussing what is going on in the Star Trek world and the science fiction world all about us. Also, this is being done live between her and me, so you're probably going to hear us tripping over our words a lot.
Completely conversational as normal.
Correct. So, one of the first things we're going to bring up to discuss is the Constitution mission. I was speaking with Jessica a while ago through GChat, and she was telling me about there's ghosts aboard the ship in this new mission. Do you know anything about it? Because I know you send a character over there occasionally.
Occasionally, I do Sim Sundasa, Selene's younger counter self from this time, where Selene's from the future, but I occasionally sim Sundasa over there, and right now, my understanding is there are ghosts somewhere on the ship. I haven't encountered any because I'm not really acting the plot line, but I do know that every deck below 8 are currently without power.
Isn't like the your character Sundasa right now is like stuck in a holodeck and like a sundress and the weather got changed on you or something like that?
My character Sundasa, she's in a holodeck. They were running a program, mountain climbing or something. She doesn't really dress appropriately for those things, so she's in a sundress, and the power went out. Some voice over the comms said they're here, very poltergeist type. And then the scenery changed, and it went from mountain climb to full-on blizzard.
That got cold quick.
Oh yeah, she's walking through the blizzard in her sundress, 2 feet of snow, trying to shuffle through to the only warm place she can see ahead, a small cabin which has a fire in it.
Okay, well that gets interesting. Because I know I've heard a lot of people discussing about that mission, and everybody is loving the ghost angle.
Yeah, that definitely does provide some interesting points. I'm not sure what's going on with that, and I'd like to know a little bit more. I've been talking to Williams, who is part of that plot line, and he told me about that. He wanted to do our JP during that mission, so that's where I have a little bit of knowledge of what's going on.
Well, I'll say kudos to the Connie people if they're listening. Sounds like you keeping your captain very busy. Some of the other things that are going on is like I am on the FNS. If any of you haven't had a chance, take a look at fns.news. Lieutenant Commander, and I'm going to butcher this, Rashana Rahman, has put up a brand new website where they move all the FNS news over there. If you want to take a look at some of the more world building they have been doing, go ahead. That's fns.news. But one of the FNS articles I'm looking at is Street Drugs and Corruption, Complicated Murder Investigation on a Neutral World. A friend of mine, Mirra, she's over there in the office. She was telling me about weaponized tribbles. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I haven't heard anything about weaponized tribbles, but that sounds scary.
I know. There's an article here that says, like, several weeks ago, the body of a wanted tribble breeder showed up dead in an impoverished on Talani capital of Anjanar City. And it looks like they're investigating it. But what she was telling me is like they've got weaponized tribble. It's one of those situations where everything is going 5 or 6 directions at the same time. And they're having a great time over there.
5 or 6 directions of crazy.
Yeah, which I think you've had experience with on the Doyle, correct?
Yes. Our crew does tend to go crazy. What was it? Klingons, Romulans, and pirates.
Yeah, and especially with our Sisterhood of Chains mission we're doing right now, everybody has really loved that mission.
Yeah, everybody. It's been really hard to keep people not from being active. Actually, most of them we just escaped from our prisons. Well, most of the crew has escaped from their prison cell. Yeah, Selene wasn't part of the crew. She did some of the escape or some of the cell break-in, and that was interesting. We have one of our officers who decided that while we were sitting there breaking them out, she was going to go wander off, which is going to be a very interesting way of trying to bring her back into what's going on.
Right, yeah, because it's like when I was reading yesterday, it's like everybody kind of went like 3 different directions at once, and trying to rein them back in has been pretty fun because everybody's loved. I mean, I'm seeing quality in PC posts, NPC posts, MSNPC posts, PNPC posts. That's a lot of posts, and people are just absolutely loving this mission.
I tend to find that people like the captive missions where people are being held captive. It gives an element of from the outside and from the inside because people either want to hold tight until a rescue comes, or they want to break out. And then from the outside, they're trying to figure out how to do the rescue, and they come up with a couple plans. Very action-type missions.
I remember we were trying to come up with a plan, and then Cassandra Ezzy decided just to throw a punch at Michelle Thompson and start a fight, try to draw people in. I think Rick's the decisioner made or something he said. I don't have the post up, I think, but that happened type thing was hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, well, Ezzy made a decision, that's for sure.
I just had this picture in my head of like him talking to Nugra, and then it happened to look over there. It was like, well, we're going to make it up as we go. Which, come to think of it, is a lot of our missions.
Yes, it is, and it's quite fun, I think. Trying to inspire the creativity of the crew in that manner by allowing them the freedom of making it up as we go along.
The Doyle is honestly one of my favorite ships, and I've been on quite a few ships in my time here. So thank you for that, Nicole. I really do appreciate simming on your ship. It's very fun.
You're welcome. I enjoy simming with everybody that's on the crew. I mean, crew's family.
Exactly. That's what I love about StarBase 118 is it's like the tagline that's showing up in the publicity articles a lot. You're not just a member, you're family. And I really think people take that at heart. I mean, I have met you in real person, and we've talked. We went out to the Crayon Factory, and we hung out. So we're just not members of an online group. We're family.
Yes. I'd like to give a special shout out to Fleet Captain Quinn Reynolds, who is a new EC member. promoted up to fleet captain. She's been captain at large before. She's was a long time captain's council magistrate. She is one of the cadet stewards. She's been the first face many of us have seen coming into the fleet, making sure all of our problems right when we come in the training class have been solved or the questions have been answered. She's a qualified trainer. She's been wiki administrator for a while. She's one featured bio. She's also a write-in challenge winner from when we had the challenge years ago. So she's a well-rounded captain. She's captain of the USS Gorkin right now and running her own crew. I'm not sure how much more I can say about her. She's a really great person, and I enjoy talking to her and working with her on the EC and CC.
Yeah, and my shout out's going to be to my great friend, Fleet Captain Reynolds, who recently got promoted to Fleet Captain. Like Captain Reynolds, he has done a lot. He won the ongoing community honor for the ongoing worlds. He won the community honor there. He won Top Sim of the Year. He's been on the featured bio team. He completely ran the fall festival team. He shot out. That's why he got the ongoing community award. He's done a lot. He's right now in charge of the publicity team. He's resurrected that. James is my personal mentor. I just really appreciate everything he's done, and I just wanted to make sure he was recognized for that, much like you're recognizing Reynolds. They're both amazing captains. They're both amazing staff members, and I enjoy working with both of them.
And to a final shout out to the other EC members, Wolf and Tony Turner and
the other Tony Igamano.
Yes, the other Tony Igamano. He has several character names.
I know, that's kind of why I was running through my head. Which one is he this time? We love you, Tony. We're serious about that. Thank you for all your help.
Yes, we love all three. Yeah, you guys are great. Both Tonys and Wolf. We enjoy working with you guys. You guys have you guys have the fleet at your heart, and you guys make sure you do the best for it. And we love the fact that you guys are up there taking care of us.
Yep, I completely agree with that. So, some of the other things we want to discuss in the Star Trek world. I've heard more about, there's a new Star Trek series. I know later in the podcast we're going to be covering more on that. But have you heard about the Axanar band movie that was being made?
I've heard a little bit about it. I can't be very up to date on it, but I do understand that it is a fan movie that's being made. Yes.
I brought up a link. I'm looking at it now. Axanar is pretty much the story of Garth of Izar. If anybody who's a real ardent Star Trek fan recognizes the name from a TOS episode, and I'm trying to remember its name right now, hence live, and I wasn't prepared to go down this route. But he's a character that showed up in the original series. He's like Kirk's hero, and these fans decided to make a movie about Garth of Izar and why he became like a paramount figure in Star Trek. He's like extremely important into the Federation based off of the original series. But from what it looks like here, it ran into some issues. Some of you may have heard about that Paramount, CBS Corporation and Paramount Pictures have filed a copyright infringement suit against them.
Yeah, it sounds like they are getting serious about these copyright laws.
Yeah, I mean, Paramount has always kind of had an unofficial, hey, if you're not making money and selling it, it's okay type thing. So I think that's kind of where the case is going to go, because they're not making money out of it, but they've got a pretty massive budget. So are they worried about the budget or what? What makes this stand out differently?
I'm not sure. I'm wondering if it's because they might be worried about it drawn from their franchise. But the thing is, I think band movies like this actually bring to the franchise more than take away. It's bringing up more buzz and making sure people are interested in what's going on.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean, I understand protecting your copyright. I mean, that's why they invented the Creative Commons license to create a way of protecting a creator, but still allowing more freedom for people to do things without, the rights being infringed and so forth. So, yes, Paramount hasn't released Star Trek under the Creative Commons, but I agree with you. I would assume, they would love the support or even get them on board to help out type thing with the PR side of it.
I'm hoping something gets situated quickly, but I'm wondering with the lawyers of the group that's doing the fan movie, if things are going to end up being in CBS's favor or if it's going to be in the favor of the fan group.
Yeah, this if anything, it'll be a landmark case for when it comes to fan movies.
It certainly will set a lot of precedent.
Yeah, it will. I mean, I just brought up the cast of Axanar. Another thing that might be scaring them is they've got some major named actors playing these characters, like Alec Peters, Tony Todd, Richard Hatch, a lot of major names.
Speaking of Creative Commons, you'd understand that legal group or legal definition and everything a lot better than I do, and I know over the last couple months we've had a lot of questions about Creative Commons and what it pertains to and what exactly does it protect.
Right, yeah. Creative Commons is a very simple, yet it can be very convoluted at times. People don't completely understand what it means. Creative Commons, first of all, a lot of people are like, well, it's not a legal license. That's not true. I believe it was in early 2000s. The courts upheld Creative Commons as a legitimate license. So it's not like something people throw out there and it's not legal. The courts have backed it. Come to think of it, I think the person won like $2,000 for improperly using their copyright.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like that was a big thing for Creative Commons is when the courts upheld the license as legitimate. A lot of these licenses, like liquid software, GNU, or when it comes to mechanics to paper, pen, games, the OGL, Open Game License, having a court back you makes it more legitimate. So the Creative Commons, which is a lot of StarBase 118 things are under, is legitimate and protected and can be enforced.
And what exactly on StarBase 118 is protected by Creative Commons?
Anything that is created original. Pretty much the items would be the character. That's the biggest thing, characters. The character you create, Sandasa, Nugra, yes, they were built in a Star Trek universe, but you created it. It's your character. Yes, it can be a gray zone because it is Star Trek influenced, but it's your character. It is technically protected under Creative Commons. Things that are not are like derivatives. Like you have a picture of a starship and you have a picture of an actor and you put him in a Star Trek uniform like a lot of our avatars are. Those technically aren't protected under Creative Commons because they're all derived from a standard copyright. But your character is protected. It's yours.
What about ships? Like, for example, I created the Doyle. Is that mine, or is that protected for the fleet, or can that be used elsewhere without any reference to us?
That is a gray area. By the intent of the Creative Commons, it's your ship. It is yours. They should reference back to it. Now, if it went to court, they would argue it's descended from Star Trek. The intent of the whole Creative Commons is, I created something. I'm letting you guys use it. Just attribute me back. It's not hard adding a link and saying, hey, created by this place or this group, and then linking back to us. It's not difficult.
And how much information needs to be included in order for it to require a credit back?
That would be in the license. There are a couple types of licenses out there, and it really depends on what they use. I believe we're using the non-commercial license? Let me go check. All right, the license that we're using is the Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 generic. That's fancy speak of saying to use this stuff that's on StarBase 118, you have to attribute back, which giving appropriate credit, which provides a link to the license or, who gave it to you. So let's see, you would put like USS Doyle created by UFOP StarBase 118 RPG, and then you link back. That's it. Non-commercial means you can't use the material for commercial purposes. Share alike means you have to release the USS Doyle. Like if they took the USS Doyle and made it onto another one, they have to release it under the exact same license.
Okay, so my next question is, say for example, another site creates a character and has them referencing, for example, Sandasa. Now they just reference Sandasa. Does that require a credit back? Or if they put her profile on their site as well, does that require credit back?
No, from my understanding, again, I want to make this clear. I am not a lawyer. If you have real serious questions about Creative Commons, you need to speak to a lawyer. It specializes in that. But from all the years I've reading, if it's just naming, like another site mentions Sandasa Faranfey, that's considered fair use. But if they copy and paste your entire biography over, or even a bit of your biography, like a quarter of it, anything that distinctively looks like yours, they have to attribute back under that license.
Okay, that makes complete sense. I mean, names really aren't copyrighted.
Right.
They're all over the place anyways. Well, then the next question is, for example, I've talked to you about potentially playing my character's brother, Yoger Faranfey. Now, if I give you permission to play him, is that permission given for just the group, or is that given elsewhere, or how does that work?
Well, the way that would work is within the context of StarBase 118. When you take, let's say, was it Yoger? Yoger. If you take Yoger Faranfey and you put his biography on the StarBase 118 wiki, it's now released under Creative Commons. But under StarBase 118's own rules, you cannot play someone else's character without their permission. So, if you gave me permission to play Yoger, I could only play within the context that you gave it to me. If you take that permission back by the rules of our own group, I can't play it anymore. But if I take that and move it to a different, like if I want to play Yoger Faranfey over on like USS Dawnstar A, RPG Independent, I would require to be able to credit back.
Well, that comfort me a bit. It means that
yeah, we're very protective over our characters. Yes. And when it comes to our characters, a lot of our character rules are specifically for us that don't have an effect of Creative Commons. Because, you know, you can't give a character, like if I wanted to give up Nugra and give them to somebody else of a lower rank, I couldn't do that because they haven't earned the character's rank. You know what I mean? There's a PCs and PNPCs, there's a very set rules on who can assume command and play them and so forth.
Yeah, and I understand that it's very difficult to figure out, well, maybe not difficult, but navigate the whole handing over a character role. Sometimes that can be difficult. It can be difficult for the writer after it's handed over as well, because that character has become so much part of them.
And then when they go a direction that they didn't expect, yes. Exactly.
Which is part of why we are so personal about them. I mean, they're an extension of us.
I mean, you take a look at our original tutorials, there's a reason we are distinctly on how to sim with another character. We don't try to make the character do things that they would normally do, you know, no power simming or meta simming. It's because characters are personal to us. We live them every day. You sit down and bring up your email, they're right there.
Speaking of characters, which ones are your favorite?
Oh, that is such a hard question, because I have three that rotate back and forth. Nugra always will have a special place in my heart because he was my, technically he was my first. I had a character before him, but I only played him for like 3 months before I switched, and I've had Nugra for actively playing 6 years now. And then my second favorite, I would say, would be Chythar, my Romulan ex-assassin that's on the Doyle.
I'm enjoying playing with her.
Oh, she is so entertaining to write, because you might understand this, when a character gets to a certain point, when you they write themselves, they even get you into trouble, because like, I didn't want to go down that route, and they've decided that's the route they want to go.
Yeah, this whole scene that with the jailbreak is becoming to be that route, I believe.
Exactly. It's just like the character is writing themselves. And my third favorite is Chythar, because Chythar is Orion, which means Chythar can be very entertaining at times.
I'd have to say Selene is my favorite.
I can tell you enjoy writing her.
Yeah. Coming back from the future and having her be a completely different personality from Sun. I mean, Sun's like cheery and fun and sunshine and lollipops sort of personality. And then Selene is like, she's had everything from her. She said
she is not sunshine and lollipops.
No, she is not. She is not. She's sarcastic. She is very protective. She is blunt. If somebody is screwing up and it's jeopardizing other people, she will tell you. And she's very fun to play because of that.
Yeah, I've seen her clash with her old FO before the present one we have now. David Cody. Who was it? Was it Roy? Was it? Who was
it was Joan Hart.
Joan Hart. It's like it was like a two-parter. JP just reported. I've never seen that before in my 6 years. That reporting into your commander turns into two parts.
Yeah, it was funny. Of course, Joan Hart did transport one of her crew members off of her ship without her permission at a crucial time, which she didn't know if the person was infected by what was going on the planet or not. And she's like, you just took my crew member. That's my crew member. You had no authorization, and I don't think I can trust you.
Speaking of characters, you've been in command of a ship for like a year now, right?
Well, I've been in command of a ship for almost a year and a half, but I've been captain since February last year.
So within that time, what do you think? You've had a full year and a half to be sitting in that center seat, both IC and OC. What do you think?
Wow, I have been in this seat for way too long.
I remember that feeling.
It's a lot of work. The ship is yours. You're solely responsible. I mean, while you do have crew that you delegate to and staff and first officer and everything, it's ultimately your responsibility if things aren't going the way you want them to, if the plot isn't, or if people aren't simming, or number of things. And it can be pretty stressful. It can be a whole lot of fun too, especially when you find out how different things about different characters. When you experience having your crew tell you how much they love you, that's a whole lot. I love and how much fun the crew is having on the ship. I take great pleasure in hearing that.
You take great pride into it too.
Yes, I do. I take great pride, and I feel like I'm always needed, which is a good and a bad thing, having the feeling of always needed, because I like feeling like I'm needed, but just feeling like I'm always needed is a little bit overwhelming sometimes.
So we're almost like your internet children.
Yes, I'm the mama of the ship.
So most people, I mean, I've heard like the youngers think that simming is only you just sim and you send in a ship report. There's a lot more to being a captain, isn't there?
Yes. If people haven't simmed for a while, like say I have somebody who hasn't simmed 7 days, I have to go and look at that and see, okay, when was their last sim? Has there been any tags for them? If there haven't, is there anybody who can tag them? If there isn't, then I need to figure out a way to include them, because there's got to be some reason why they haven't been involved. And if they aren't on a leave of absence or haven't told me that there's something going on in their real life, they're probably waiting on somebody to include them in the bot.
And you're also still expected to do additional duties too, right? Like when I was in the center seat, I facilitated the group.
Yes, I am part of the training team. I am a commandant there. I think that's pronounced that right.
Yeah, you did. Commandant.
I am one of the commandants of the training team, and it is a job of itself, especially since our training team does need a little bit of help. Right now we are at our lowest numbers with trainers, and so if any lieutenant commanders or lieutenants out there that are listening to this are interested in the training team, please feel free to tag your captain and tell them that you're interested, or tag one of us, John or myself, and we will get you involved in the training team.
Yeah, I'll double onto that. If you can help us, we'd appreciate it. I mean, it's a fun thing to do. I enjoy being in the academy. It's fun getting to help the new guys coming in. I mean, perfect example. Nicole, who was your trainer when you came through?
You were my trainer. You were the first face I saw coming into the fleet, and we have established a really good bond since then. We are best friends. He's more like a brother to me, and I appreciate that role, having still being in contact with you after all these years. I mean, it's been 3 years.
You're my favorite cadet.
I'm probably the only one who's still here.
No, I think there's a few other ones, but I don't have the same relationship that I do with you guys. So, I mean, I got to meet your husband, who also we conned into playing the game with us, and we also drug your daughter in. Wow, we got a lot of your family in our group.
Yes, my son is only 10 years away from being able to play.
Okay, we'll get them all trained up and everything. But yeah, if anyone out there listening is interested in the academy, please contact your captain, or you can email me. You can email Nicole. You can, just if you have questions, please, we love answering questions.
And we're always available for them. I mean, in some cases, it may take 24 hours for you to get a response, but we do respond fairly quickly.
Unless you're me. If you haven't heard anything back within 48 hours, I probably missed it. Please send me another email. Feel free to scold me.
Oh, I always do.
I know. That's kind of what I was referring to.
Especially as your captain, now it's my responsibility to.
Well, I would say it was your privilege to do. I'm like, you can torture me all you want now. He's not just some guy on another ship. He's on my ship, and I get to make him do everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are, because you don't do everything.
No. Plus, I have a tendency to get caught up in other things, and I need that little kick in the pants. So, see, when you guys who are listening get an email from your captain saying, hey, don't forget to sim, it happens at the higher ranks, too. I get it.
Yes, he does. Like, every 3 days.
Don't rub it in. Let's just keep that one off the air. No, just kidding. So, but, yeah. I love the group. I'm a big fan of it.
Yes, and I know that you want to get back to being captain someday.
Someday. I miss it. It was like, oh, you understand it's so much work, but when it's gone, you're like, where'd it go?
It's like, but now I don't have my people anymore.
I know, I miss my people. You hear that, Erie? Vess? The rest of you? I miss you guys.
You can borrow my people.
Okay. I feel better now. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for this issue of the Ready Room. Anything else you want to say, Nicole, before we let them finally have their ears back?
We can finally let them have their ears back? You mean they weren't theirs to begin with?
No, you know how it is. When they start listening, we control their ears for now.
Okay, well, as long as we control their ears, I just want to say that I love all of the 118ers out there. I want you guys to keep on simming, sim us proud, and we will see you next time.
Yes, I'll see you next time on the next issue of The Ready Room.
So, we reached all the topics for this Match podcast. The next one will probably be in May, so be sure to check out the forums, stay tuned, and remember to enjoy your experience while simming. Have a nice time, and until our next podcast.